Hello, YouTube. This is a video, and instead of the regular quickie, it's the audio comes from me going like this on my phone while I'm talking with Scoot in his vehicle as we are driving away from the theater. This is not the start of a new trend. This is a maybe one-time thing, because I ran out of time and couldn't record a regular quickie because that takes more time. So Damo edited some visuals to accompany it. So enjoy. I figured I would post this instead of posting nothing because some of you want to hear my opinions on the film. Thank you. Enjoy. All right. Let's go through the Uncharted movie. I'm going to take my notes via voice for the first time. Yeah. So in the games, they're completely different people. There's literally there's nothing that's similar about the movie to the games, other than they fell out of a plane.
But we got to see that twice.
Yeah.
So that's important.
The physics are somehow worse.
The physics!
In the movie than the games.
Every time someone jumped, I got angry.
He was like magnetized to the car as it was falling for some reason. Sully is just so much more of an asshole. Like he has no
Mark Wahlberg.
It's just Mark Wahlberg, and then like he has no heart, he has no charm. He's just an asshole who's like only looking out for himself at any moment.
Is he like a good guy in the games?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's your like sidekick.
Cool.
He's supposed to be like an endearing father figure character.
I wasn't catching a lot of endearing.
Yeah, he was just an asshole in this one.
He was just kind of a piece of shit.
He was just a gigantic piece of shit. Yeah.
How old is Tom Holland?
Yeah, they did the flashback there like 15 years ago.
I thought it was 18 years ago.
I think it said 15.
Okay, I'll give him 15. Either way, he's like 30 now.
Supposedly his character is like at least 30.
It has to be, like mathematically.
Even though like
everyone calls him a baby.
Yeah, everyone calls him a baby. He drinks the wine really quickly. They say, "Slow down, kid," or whatever. Yeah. Call him a kid constantly.
Like how old? Honestly, how old does the movie think he's supposed to be?
I don't know. That's what's confusing to me.
They're treating him like he's 18.
What's confusing to me about this is, to be the most charitable you possibly could when watching the trailer, you would go, oh, they're doing a younger version of Nathan Drake. But then you watch the movie and it's like, oh no, they're still doing the flash. So the younger version in the game was the flashback one with his brother. Right? Yeah. So in the fourth game, they did some flashbacks with his brother and it was like, oh, I found my brother, or whatever. And then that didn't come into play at all except to give him motivation to be tricked by Sully.
Yeah.
Which the game didn't need that because they were... Before the brother was ever mentioned in the game, Sully and Nate were doing shit together. Like, they had plenty of justifications for that.
Oh, is the brother like a later addition to the game series?
The brother is a character who was never even mentioned until the fourth game. It was like, oh, Nate has a brother now.
Because the brother's like pretty integral to this.
Yeah, and then they teased the brother for the second movie, which I don't think should happen. I hope this doesn't make money, because it's just... If it does, it's because Tom Holland's in it, really.
There were two, like, mid-credit scenes, which the gall of that I found insulting.
Whoa! Aw, crap. Those were the only things that were similar to the game, is that he said, aw, crap, when he was, like, falling or something. Yeah.
He did say it.
Yeah. That's about it. Like, other than that, like, their characters they don't have anything to do with each other.
There was what? I assume the man from the game was that little guy we talked to on the beach? See the voice for...
Nolan North, yeah. And that was the only part of the movie where the soundtrack... It still didn't sound anything like the game, but they played the melody briefly. They did the da-da-da-da-da, even though it wasn't the right, like, chord progression or anything. Yeah, the music fucking sucked. There was a lot of that, like, weird-ass, shitty guitar.
Yeah.
That was never in the games.
Does not exist in the game.
That tone doesn't exist in the games. Everything looked like shit. Everything looked fake and phony.
So fake.
Really computerized, more so than the games. Because the games have a consistent look and a consistent feel to them. This movie, it's just like, oh wow, we found the place, and they do this like, oh, you look up and it's like, oh wow, the ships, blah blah blah, and it's just like, this doesn't look special. It doesn't look interesting. It doesn't, like.
It all looks fake.
It's so forgettable, fake and forget. Like, you can even have fake and interesting, but this is just fake and bland and forgettable.
Flat, I would describe it as.
Yeah. So was Chloe compared to the games.
Poor Chloe.
I believe that's the same character.
Well, that's why they had to make her kind of a bad guy in the end, because if her tits were too big, people would like her too much.
Yeah, that was really stupid. And then like,
I like how she just kept like at every instance, at every single turn, fucking everyone over.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool.
like
I liked Chloe.
what a twist.
At the end of the day, wow, Chloe fucked him again. Can you believe it?
Should have drowned you.
Should have drowned you.
Yeah, that was a very frustrating experience. Tom Holland did a New Yorker accent,
He's Tom Holland. He's from New York.
but only for like
Only a little bit.
only for like a third of the movie.
Yeah,
and
when
the rest he just sounded like regular American accent doing Tom Holland.
Now, question: was he doing the New York accent when he interacted with Mark Wahlberg because he wanted to do something northeasty to counteract Wahlberg's Boston?
I don't know.
Am I reading too much into this?
I have no idea. Yeah,
It's like Wahlberg's accent is so stupid. I got to do a little something to balance it, I guess.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg blinded a Vietnamese man in the late 1980s.
Nice.
Via hate crime. Look it up.
I couldn't understand a lot of the lines that were said in this film, but particularly by Mark Wahlberg. He delivered lines like he was slurring, like he was drunk.
I was gonna say, like fairly early in the movie, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, is Wahlberg's character a drunk?
Yeah, like I couldn't understand what he was saying for like a good chunk of the lines.
He was a real mushmouth.
It was really weird. It's like they weren't trying. Both of their performances were like particularly worse than the average movie I've seen them in.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing, like, it's a big budget, like a blockbustery movie, but the whole thing seemed like really phoned in, and like despite the effects shot in a weekend, it felt like
it's weird because like you can tell they spent money on it, but
sure.
You couldn't see like it's like where the money go.
They did not leave the money up on the screen.
Yeah. There was nothing. Everything was like really boringly shot. Like every action set piece was terribly coordinated and terribly choreographed, and you know, even thinking to like the point where they're like anticipating and leading up to that cannon shot, and he's like, "Oh, here I found this thing," and it takes so long. He's like, "Whoa!" He loads the cannon, and then the cannon shot happens.
Yeah.
And you don't see anything. It's just a first-person view from the cannonball, and it happens so quick that it's like, oh, I guess the helicopter got hit.
Yep.
So you're leading up to it. You're doing so much build-up, and then you show it, and you don't really show it, and it's so lame. It's so like all of the action is just so terribly communicated in a visual sense.
I was saving up a pee I was holding in for the next fight scene because I knew it would be the most missable thing coming up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't often like grab a beer in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, there's nothing happening for the whole movie, so
there's something to get through this.
Like, it was just so. It's so forgettable. I'm struggling to remember most of the movie. It was an hour and 40 minutes. They did basically nothing the entire time.
Thank God they didn't decide to do a 2.5-hour movie for no reason. Because a lot of people.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Respect at least for keeping it under 100.
I'm just like, I don't understand you didn't have to cast Tom Holland. You didn't have to cast Mark Wahlberg. Tom Holland is understandable because he sells the tickets. Mark Wahlberg, I don't understand.
He's an A-lister. Tom Holland has a not great non-Spider-Man track record in terms of movie quality.
True.
Chaos Walking in this,
Yeah, what has he done that's not Spider-Man?
That's anything.
Yeah, that's anything.
Or that's anything. End of sentence.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't love his non-Spider-Man chances, actually. I hope for his sake he's Spider-Man forever.
He has to be. Alright, that was a bunch of bunch of bullshit. There was nothing special about that.
I'm angry at it. And at you.
It was just awful. I couldn't imagine a worse way to communicate the game, because the game is already cinematic. It lends itself well to being cinematic. If you really wanted to make like a good Uncharted movie, you could, but they didn't. They didn't even try.
They chose not to.
What the? There's so many like shitty soundtrack choices and like just ugh.
Pretty early in the planning stages, they decided not to make a good movie.
There was nothing. You couldn't even argue that they like captured parts of the game to deliver onto the screen. They did something else completely different, and they might as well have not called it Uncharted. They might as well have said inspired by Uncharted or something. Like, there's no point calling these the same characters. There's no point calling this the same story.
Based on a true Uncharted.
Yeah. There's nothing special about it. It was just painful and bravo, Sony. Thank you. And I'm giving this one a 2 out of 10. It's closer to a 2 than a 10. Bravo, Sony. Bravoni. 2 out of 10. This bad movie. Goodbye. Hey! You ran past me!
You are the worst detective
oh my god, that was so
in the
pathetic.
fucking world!
Oh my god!